Everybody come and stand to attention. Okay, keep this rolling. And we are now, well, actually, let me just put one call out first because it should be our brother Galactic Clyde. So I'm going to put the call out first. Oh, there he is here. Okay, Galactic, please stay forward. Let's hear it for our brother Galactic Clyde.
I check. I like that. Greetings. I'm Galactic Clyde. We want somebody who's operating the ground man here so that I could put the PowerPoint in. Greetings, I'm Galactic Clyde. As I said, I wear many hats, many hats in the community.
No.
Some people may not know me, but I'm a quiet storm that is building. Okay. Yeah. Quiet storm that is building. So what are my hats? I'm an astrologer. Been studying astrology for more than 20 years. Started in the United States of America. Another one of my hats, I'm a herbalist. I'm considered traditional herbalist because I've been studying traditional herbs from the Caribbean. My island in the Caribbean, Montserrat, I grew up. I've been studying traditional herbs from different Caribbean islands, and also an embark and 4-year study on traditional health and healing on the continent of Africa. And I started in January, and it's been mind blowing. So today, this talk is about the legacy of health and healing. Not my legacy, focusing on our good brother, Douglas Williams. Does Douglas Williams have a legacy of health and healing in our community? Yes, this is why we're here today. And I think somewhere along the line, there should be a book that represents that for our good brother Dougie. Because, where is he? Supreme. Them no sleep. Dougie and Supreme and Jammers, them no sleep when they come on to late night show on radio. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're leaving out the studio. Trying their best to educate the public, our people, and the importance of health and healing, and the importance of positive thinking, motivation in connection to our community. So Douglas Williams, and I know time is limited, is was very significant, and this is why we're all here. Significant to all of us in many different ways. But one of the key areas is health and healing. Dougie touches in many ways on his radio show, as an MC, coming around in the community, and you can see by the grin and the smile in Dougie's face, Dougie knows a lot, but he's not the person that are very, what they call it, forceful. Dougie will question that if you don't know, to get the points out or to get the points across. Isn't that the Dougie we know?
Yes, sir.
And the reason why I bring that up, because Dougie's birthday fall on a very significant cardiology cord. As an astrologer, I should know these things because I study different aspects of astrology, which is what is known as Western astrology, cardiology, numerology, Mayan slash, or I should say, Olmec slash Mayan astrology. And so when I look into people, I look into not on the surface, but I look from the astrological connection, because these are the systems of our ancestors and still is. But a lot of us are not that versed in this area that is important to us. Cardiology, even though it may seem new to us, is an ancient system of astrology, where each card in cardiology represents planetary influence. And Dougie carried a very significant card, and he played it out. Dougie was like a broken record in his understanding and questioning about a very important part of health. Can anybody say what the important part is that Dougie was stuck on every time Dougie been questioned or having topic on that particular subject? Anybody remember? Anybody could recall what Dougie was stuck on in connection to health? Is it prostate? Is it mental health? Is it heart health? Is it cancer? What is it? Can somebody tell me? Cancer, you think? Anybody else? Mental health. Dougie was very much stuck on mental health because Dougie considered mental health was very important to our community and in our community. The many times I get calls from Dougie, like a random call. Oh, try them in the studio. Can you talk to us about mental health? I say what I can. And then later on, I get another call from Dougie, maybe like another week or two or what have you. And the subject is mental health. And I'm like, wow, Dougie was so stuck in the area of mental health. So I want to talk a little about that in connection to Dougie, because I think that was part significant because of who Dougie was. So who was Doug Williams in connection to cardiology? Dougie had a strong card, which is called the card of mental power. Today is Dougie's birthday, am I right? So today, this card is the card of today. Anybody know what card that is? Anybody? Anybody? I think somebody here knows. Anybody know the card that rules Dougie? The cardiology card? We're still on the subject of legacy of health and healing, because who you are manifests to what you do, based on cardiology or astrology or the different systems. Because this ancient says, as above, so below. And when we want to get into a core or the core of who an individual is, we look to the stars, because we are stars or we're planets in human flesh. Yes? The flesh is just a physical vehicle, but deeper down we're stellar influence. And the ancient knew that. This is why they document so much information for us to understand that. So I'll tell you what Dougie card is. Dougie was the 8 of clubs. It's called the card of mental power. And today, you can change okay. Today is the 8 of clubs. But there's something also significant about today, because today in the Mayan system of astrology falls on what is called a wave spell, which is a 13-day wave spell that begins today. This is a wave of energy that comes from the sun every 13 days, and they got different names for this 13-day wave spell. There's 20 different wave spells that come from the sun that repeats every 13 days. And there's a name for it. And the wave spell of today is called the wave spell of the white mirror. Why is this significant? Why are we talking about that instead of the legacy of health? Because that wave spell is going to govern us for the next 12 months. And today I had an emergency meeting with some of the people from groups that I run on WhatsApp to talk about the significance of today and the significance of this event and the event, how it locks into a 12-year cycle, 12-month cycle. Because the world spell is a 13-day week, just like we know that the year is 52 weeks, but we don't count the significance of each week of the year. We don't count that. And we can say we go 52, we go 7 times 7 because we're in the 7th month, yeah? And 7 times 4, yeah, 28. So we get the 28th week of the year. Everybody know that? Yeah, but we don't look at the significance. But in the system of Olmec/Mayan astrology, each week have a significance. But the most significant of that, this one changed the cycle, which is the new year of the system of the Mayan/Olmec astrology. And because of that, the significance of today, it lingers for a whole year. So it's like a day to make resolution. And I think one of the important resolutions for Dougie that we have, I think we're looking at setting up a park bench for Dougie. How that coming in terms of donation and things like that? And what is the date? Do we have a date for that? We don't have a date. Just checking. So a very significant day today that we have the event for Dougie, but also it leads into the year. So I think other things going to jump in connection to Dougie and the legacy that is left to us. Okay? What is the legacy or contribution to us and our community? I think we touched a little about that on that. But one of Dougie's major topic was finding your voice. Everybody remember that phrase? Finding your voice. And we know that the year that Dougie transitioned was a year that they wanted to do what the closing of the mouth ceremony known as COVID-19 master. Yes? So the man that tells you find your voice passed at the same year when they want us to be silent, wearing a wig or whatever it is over our mouth. Some people are still wearing that nonsense over the mouth for whatever reason. Yes? And so the message is, are you going to find your voice or are you going to lock yourself up with a handcuff over your mouth or mouth cuff? Significant. But we don't think about these things. But one thing to remember that Dougie knew about mental power and the importance of a mental power. Why? Because his card is a mental power card. But Dougie plays the role like a Columbo. And this is why we don't really fully understand Dougie. If you go back to Dougie will ask you things as if you don't know. Yeah, because Dougie have a deeper perspective of things, and because of that, he trash it out as opposed to be forceful. He plays the ping pong with us. You know what I mean when I say ping pong? Yes, he throw it out to get a reaction so that other people can learn. Is Jillian in the house? No, Jillian. Everybody knows Jillian. Jillian is a young lady, I think she was in her early teenage when actually she used to be on a lot of Dougie shows. Dougie really promote health and healing in connection to Jillian, a young lady. And why I talk about Jillian, because I think Jillian went on to be a nutritionist in terms of health and healing, in terms of getting certification in nutrition. But the reason why I want to talk about her or touch on her, because it shows Dougie as a community organizer, as a promoter, as an MC, was care also about the growth, the upgrowth. Not just the older people who knows about health and healing, but the exposure of the young people. Yes? And so it's like the legacy have to go on. We can't just wait until the elders pass and says, I should have learned this or learned that from the elders. Dougie was also about bringing up the next generation of health and healing. And I had my share of exposure with Dougie. And on YouTube, you can find Galactic Clyde, Wisdom and Vitality, where Dougie was the MC announcing the show on Wisdom and Vitality, then by Alexander. So yes, we love and adore Dougie for the work he has done. The 8 of clubs today. This is a chart here that represents every one of us here based on the date you were born. You may not know the significance of it, but in time, if you're interested, you can learn that. But the 8 of clubs, you see it here. This is called the Jupiter line, and this is called the Neptune line. Yes? May not be significant to a lot of you all, but for me, because I understand that the year the Mayan or Olmec Mayan New Year begins on the 26th of July, Saturday, is connected to this card, which is the week or the wave spell that this falls in. This is the 7th notch of the wave spell of the mirror. So you're going to see a lot of things being reflective as we move into the new Olmec year, Mayan/Olmec year. A lot of things going to be reflective. Those of you who have watched the news have seen, especially what's going on in Israel, Palestine. You see the reflection. Last year, Israel was bombing Palestine to split away. This year, you see Israel getting bombed and people are surprised. The mirror is happening. But this is not the topic for today. I could talk a lot on that, but let me leave that alone. We're still at the legacy of health and healing. Yes? But if you want to learn about cancer, look at what's happening with the war. Because those of you who get chemo, that's what is being done. Yeah? Because they figure that Palestine is a cancerous country. And so they bomb them to split away in connection to healing. Healing don't work like that. Yes? So when they give you radiation, destroy the good and the bad cells, and then you say, this is how you take care of the community. No, that's not the way. That's a cancer treatment that is called bad. It's called war. There's internal and external war, and they're similar. Okay? But what is so significant about the 8 of clubs is that it doesn't have a past life karma. In other words, in the spiritual spread, which looks similar to this, it's the same card from the past life as it is in this life. So people who are 8 of clubs have a very significant life because they're in the same position from the spiritual world as they in the physical world. Meaning, more spiritual world, and this is the science of the cards. Coming into this physical world, we change form because we come here to learn something of importance. But the 8 of clubs people, they're in the same position in the spiritual world and in the same position in the physical world. And this is why they have so much mental power. But if you want to learn more about that, find me or you can get more information. Also, if you want to learn about your card, here is a chart that shows you based on your birthday, each one of those days represents a different card. Yes? And the cards rule us because the cards are not the cards, they are planetary influence coded in card form. It might sound like a mouthful and a earful to you, but there's so much knowledge and wisdom in this information coming from the ancient world. I'm talking about ancient Africa. Okay? We can talk more on that later, but it's a whole new world in that sense. Prior to Dougie talking to me or calling me and calling around and doing radio show and mental health, I know of this particular herb. This is a very powerful, powerful, powerful herb from Africa. And a vial of this is about 250 pounds. Yes, to purchase. Yes, or it depends on before it may cost more. What is so powerful about this powerful herb and why it is so expensive? Did I miss something there? There's another page missing. I don't know where it's gone. Okay. There's another book. I can't find it. I don't know why. Anyway, what is so powerful about this powerful herb? This herb, as our good brother, a herbalist who I highly respect, called Anthony Ando from Ghana. He grows this herb and he does ceremony, or he used to do, former Anthony Ando used to do a lot of sacred ceremonies in America utilizing this herb. Yes? This powerful herb is known to cure, I said cure, any addiction. Crack, cocaine. This is one of the reasons why it is known in the West, or it's so expensive in the West, because those crack addicts and cocaine addicts, or those cocaine addicts or heroin addicts that have a lot of money and learn about this herb from knowledgeable people such as Anthony Ando and other scientists started to utilize this. So, and it may cost maybe 16 grand, 10 grand, 5 grand, or whatever to go to Gabon or different parts of Africa to partake in a ceremony, Iboga ceremony with this herb. Now, I work in the building trade. As I said, that's another hat that I wear. Improvement and health improvement. So what health improvement side, but other than that, part of my legacy coming from my father, who's an architect and a builder. And my father put me with his number one builder to learn. And I learned from foundation to roof. So I could do both exterior and interior houses. Yes, I do tiling and I do plumbing as well. And I do a little bit of electrical. I wear many hats. Because, my grandmother used to say, that man used to say, me don't have no lazy bones. My grandmother used to call me a nickname. I don't want to say it now because I don't want to call me that. But he used to say, I don't have any lazy bones. And believe you me, I would work up to 10, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night sometimes. I push hard. But one thing I do when I push hard, I utilize the herbs. The message is that some of the healers in Africa would take this herb and they could go out in the wild, face wild animals, yes, face a harsh day with no food and don't have to worry because this herb is powerful. So I've been working hard, and your body is a lab, it's a testing ground. So you not only read in the book how good the herb is, you can also test it with your body. And as a traditional herbalist, learning the traditional herb, I also need to test. So I've gone through a battle of this and a little bit more. But I'll tell you something about this herb. This herb, we've seen it for those who watch the movie Wakanda. You see a purple flower, but the purple flower is reflective of this herb. Because if they show you in the movie some powdered root, you wouldn't get the message. So they put it as a purple flower. But the purple flower in the Wakanda movie is actually Iboga. Because Iboga have the power to take you to transcend the spiritual world. So let me give you a harsh one here. So in Africa, there is the Iboga ceremony that is done, and it's not done with microdose like I have here, but it's done with a major dose. And you may have a 3-day ceremony, and when you take that herb, it helps you to transcend time and space. That means you leave your body there as a dead, as a cast. Somebody will look after your body, sing to your body, sun your body. You go on away for 2-3 days outside your body. Hey, I can see you. Into the spirit world. How are you? Yeah, good to see you, Stephen. You go on away into the spirit world past death. Our ancestors knew what it is to pass death and come back into life. This was one of the herbs. When I say past death, that's what they say. You go into the spirit world, communicate with the ancestors, come back, and you're fully reset. That means if you lost your mission for while you're here, this helps you to get back to your mission. This is something I don't like to talk about publicly because that what happens, the price goes up and it goes up and it never comes back down. But somehow along the line, I still need to share the importance. I don't know how I do for time. Who's is the timekeeper? Am I still good there for time? Okay. Yes? So the importance, study these herbs, study our tradition because listen, it's mind-blowing. The knowledge concerning health and healing is mind-blowing. I have a brother, spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He was in the hospital. I was treating him for some health issues. I don't want to say who his name is. I don't want to say what the issues are. But anyway, he said for the issues that he's dealing with, the doctors can't understand how he is doing so well. And they know that he's taking some kind of herb or bush, but they can't tell him direct, so they want him to tell him what you've been doing. He said, I've been exercising, because he's smart enough to understand the nature of the medical field. So he tells them he's been exercising, and they can't tell you you're lying, because they have to have proof. So they tell him, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because you're doing surprisingly well. Okay? Because some of the issues that he's suffering with had to do with lungs issue. And I know one of the lungs issue, and I know one of the best herbs, when you come on to lungs issue. And, the Indian gurus or shamans or whatever you may know them as, they talk about this herb. It's called haritaki. I'm so sure Kindaki, you know about haritaki, yeah? Haritaki? No? It is said to increase your breathing capacity 300%. You had some haritaki, didn't you? So haritaki, this is a herb that is come from Indian tradition or known in Indian tradition. And don't get tripped up to think about Indian herb, Chinese or blah, 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 blah. It's just the Indian name for the herb. Because lots of herb, basil have a Nigerian name, but it's still basil in English. Yes? You may have like licorice, for instance, is known as one of Chinese number one herb. Learn about licorice from the ancient Egyptian. In herbs and the name from different countries. But might be somewhere in Africa, China, whatever, but under a different name. So don't get confused. Indian herb, no, I'm Jamaican, I'm Caribbean. No, I'm Caribbean herb. Some people are like that. You can't mix that up. But if you live in a cold area or a cold country, not just Caribbean herb, you need to take cold country herb as well. Yes? Contraindication. Contraindication. Yes, that's what you're talking about. Yes. All, not just iboga, all herbs have contraindications. So this is my microdosing. Yes? And I've been microdosing because I'm testing my body's lab. Oh, by the way, next month I'm going to be 60 years. So I am not playing when it comes down to herbs. I'm learning about the herbs, their nature. Because when you take the herb, you're not just eating or drinking a herb. You're taking on planetary influence. Do you know that? When you take the herb and you drink the herb, you're drinking the essence of different planets. Because the herbs are influenced by what? The stars and planets. And when we say the stars and planets, we're talking the same thing. Because the stars